Shalom, this is Yehudit Gold Farm from Svat, now in Colorado, in Denver. And I want to share with you the movements for the 21st day of the 40 days of challenge and centering. We're at Malchut still. We came all the way up with the Yud of Adonai, God's name Adonai, for the level of Asiya and the entranceway to the spiritual path. And we started with the Yud in the 4th place and the first of our series, and we came from Malchut all the way up to Keter, and we came down with Nun, and yesterday was Tisha B'Av, and we ended with Malchut in the Nun, and now we're starting a whole new series of climbing up the mountain again, so to speak, climbing up to our contact with Hashem, direct and close as we can get on the spiritual path, to go up to Keter in order to then come down in the Aleph of Adonai. So the Dalet is the column that I'm working with now, and we'll go through each of the sefirot each day. Today is Malchut, and as I mentioned, it's when there is no vowel sign, no nikudah underneath a letter. It's just an empty space. The empty space reminds us that in Malchut, in the physical world, we are made alive and kept alive by Hashem's breath, and we allow the breath to come into us. We wait for that breath to come into us. I'm going to do that part first. It's just with my feet shoulder width apart, hands a little bit to the side, knees slightly bent, hanging from a string from above, and I wait for the breath. I consciously feel Hashem breathing me as relaxed as I can on this string, grounding myself, centering myself, being in the sovereignty of self. Self with a capital S is connected with the soul, that part of us that is part of Hashem, and connected with every other soul. Receiving from the whole sefirot chart above. I have this necklace, and I think I was wearing it on the other side yesterday. If you can see it, it has little white dots for all the sefirot on the Tree of Light. It's a piece of very light wood, which is brown. I'm going back to the rainbow system of colors for this column. So I have brown for Malchut as a skirt, and brown in the necklace too with white, because the letter Dalet is the pathway between Keter and Tiferet. And Tiferet in the rainbow system is green, and Keter is kind of a blinding white. But I'm wearing a white at this point to indicate the Keter combination with Tiferet. Also, the scarf I've chosen is many colors because Tiferet is not only the heart space and harmony and beauty in itself, but is often used as a representation of the whole world of Yetzirah with its variety of attributes from Hesed, Gevurah, Tiferet, Netzachot, and Yesod. They're all part of that collection, so I decided to wear a very colorful tichel with a green as the dominant background color, but a lot of other colors included. The letter Dalet has been very interesting for me in the Otiyot Hayyot because it really is a living letter. It keeps giving me new forms, and I have at times associated different Dalets with different levels, with different worlds. So when we're in the world of Asiya, I might use one Dalet, and the world of Yetzirah, a different form of the Dalet, and the world of Bria, another form. This is from the action level the emotional level and the mental level, and then Silut, the spiritual level, actually the place of Chokmah. And so as we go up the ladder of the spiritual path, using the Dalet and the different nikudot at each level, I decided I'm going to expose you, I'm going to teach you, show you different forms of the Dalet. It takes a lot of concentration for me to focus on which form I'm using sometimes. Particularly, I think I want to start with the Dalet I call the open door Dalet. It's one of the second Dalet I guess I got. And partly because I'm just, as association, open doors are in our physical world, as well as a metaphor for opening the whole path, the doorway up our spiritual climb towards a unity with Hashem. And that's the one I think I'm going to do for Malchut. And then when we get to Yetzirah, from Yetzirah all the way through Hesed, I'll do a single version of the Dalet, and then I'll change again when we get to Bina, and change again when we get to Chokmah. That's my current idea, at least. We'll see. So the Dalet I want to show you from, let's see, I'm going to do it from the front first, and then I'll turn to the side so you can see the form. So I start with alternating my feet from left heel up, right heel up, left heel up, and down. So there's this alternating rocking between my feet like I'm walking. See, like I'm moving. But I keep in place. Meanwhile, my hands come back to back, like we've done in the past with Keter. They come up in front of me, and then they open like a door. So I call the door. And at this point, you see me from the side, my right hand would go forward, and my left opens up to the sky, and my head bends forward. So there's the Dalet. When I extend forward, my elbow does not lock. It's just short of locking. Then my right hand comes over and matches my left hand, and I do a dip up and down to the side. So if I do it on the other side, I'll do the feet with it this time. Left heel comes off, right heel. Left heel's up, so that means my right heel's up, excuse me. So the right hand goes forward while my left hand opens to the sky, and my heel comes down. My head comes down. So here's the Dalet. It's like waiting for Gimel to catch up and give me a gift. And for the poor person, Dal is often associated with Dalet as well as doorway. And the other hand is forward moving. Then you catch up, come in, and down. So it's the left heel off, the right heel, the left heel, that means the left hand's going forward, the heel comes down. This part, your feet stay together. The right heel off, left heel. Right hand forward, the left opens to the sky. That's the Dalet we're going to use. We're going to do the pattern of a Dalet and then stepping to the side and letting Hashem breathe me, because we're in the level of Malchut, of the Dalet. Now I'm also, it is the second letter of the divine name now that we moved up to. So the whole world we're working with right now is the world of Bria, the world of the mental world. And that too is often, it's not in the rainbow system. So in the Zohar system, Bria is green. So it matches also the the dominance of the green in color that I'm wearing today. So let's try our system, and I'm going to go from, this whole column is based on the climbing the ladder. So we're going to go from Malchut to Keter in our meditation inside as we go through the 10 variations, starting with receiving the breath and ending with the receiving of the breath, and then doing the active Malchut that matches the world of Asiya, and then up through Yesod and Hod and Netzach and Sefirah and Gevurah and Hesed and Bina and Chachma and Keter. And at the end we'll do that breathing exercise and bring all of this back down to the ground, to center and ground us. So let's begin, beginning with the open door Dalet, left foot, right foot up, the heel. Left heel as we open the door. My left heel's up, so my left hand's going to go forward as I lower the heel, and the right fingertips point back. The head bends. So now that's the Dalet. Coming in. And down. And then I'm going to step to the right. It's a crossover letter. And let myself be breathed. And close. And for Yesod, I'm going to start on the right foot. The right heel comes off. The right hand goes forward. Step to the left. Yesod. Now we go to Hod, which is the left hip and thigh, on the left foot, the left leg. So again, we start with the left heel off, right, left. The left hand goes forward, the right fingertips point backward. We stay on the left for the breath. Being breathed. Then right for Netzach, right hip, right thigh, right leg, right heel off. And stepping to the right. And close. And Tiferet. I'm going to actually go to the left with the Tiferet and then cross over to the right. For Gevurah, Ferret's harmony and beauty and balance. Gevurah is setting your boundaries, setting priorities, the strength that comes from knowing your limitations. So left heel off. Both feet down. To the left for the being breathed. Right for Hesed, for openness, loving kindness. abundance. Right heel off. Left for Bina, for understanding, noticing distinctions without emotional attachment. Right heel off. Open the door. Left hand extends. Left heel came off. On the left. And moving to the left. And we move to the right with Chokmah, with holistic vision, sense of wholeness, and the oneness underlying all reality. Right heel off this time. It was left heel last time. To the right. Find the Keter starting on the left and crossing over. So left heel up. Over to the right. And then letting ourselves be breathed as the energy moves now from Keter all the way down to Malchut and into the earth as we center and ground our energy as vessels of the divine light, really. And as we recognize that we're taking a bounce here, we've come down to Malchut and we're beginning the pathway up the ladder now. So as we move now towards the next holiday of the Tu B'Av, the 15th of Av, which is a special celebration of, in biblical times, has many different associations, but it has to do with when the Israelites were in the desert and the people realized that all the generation, the older generation, had died off and it was time to go into the land for the younger generation. It's also a time, I feel this going up and coming down again in terms of the story of Moshe. He had gone up and down again to clarify God's forgiveness and insist that God and not just an angel lead them in the desert. And after the incident of the golden calf, and now when he comes down again, he moves his tent to the outside of the camp. And I think it's a teaching about learning how to make that contact, how to climb that mountain internally without having to climb up to the Mount Sinai again to have his deep conversation and communication with Hashem. He learned how to do it within his sacred space, the tent. And I think each of us, it teaches each of us to try to create somewhere in our world at least a sacred space inside, but also outside. It's very nice to have a special room or a special place in nature or just a special place that can help us with our centering, with remembering who we are and why we're here each time, particularly in very confusing and very challenging times. And so I bless us that we may maintain that sense of sovereignty over ourselves and our decisions. And we bring all our resources to be the best manifestation of ourselves at this time that we can be, and honor and respect each person's individual manifestations. Because the whole world of Bina and the mental world has to do with recognizing distinctions and differences and honoring the multiplicity of creation. Many blessings to you on this, the 21st day of the 40 days of challenge and centering.